All right, here we are, Matthew Russell Lee, Inner City Press, on the way to the Southern District of New York Courthouse here at One Police Plaza. Today, Thursday, August 13th, 2026. Now, yesterday we covered a First Amendment case, and we had a little special take on it. But the main case is about Binance. Binance, the crypto firm whose CZ famously took down SBF, and then himself got 6 months and then a pardon. In any event, the Wall Street Journal, the defendant Dow Jones, the parent of the Wall Street Journal, wrote a story about how the people that flagged Binance's role in funneling money to the IRCG in Iran were themselves fired. Although it seems like there wasn't necessarily a connection. It wasn't as retaliatory as it seemed. That's what Binance says. And Binance sued for defamation. Defamation by implication. Judge Engelmeyer had a lot of questions. He actually seemed to be grilling the Journal, but I feel like probably it's not going to be defamation because there is a First Amendment. But the lawyers for the Wall Street Journal and Dow Jones was Davis Wright Tremaine. They have a, what do you call it, a burgeoning First Amendment portfolio. But they're also the firm that, without much accountability or transparency, positioned itself as the broker of seats in the Luigi Mangione trial and other trials in 100 Center Street. Now, they might think this is unfair, but I think it is fair. I think that they were called out, actually, by a recent defense submission in that case, saying, what is their role in choosing? And they didn't answer. If I were them, I would have showed up and said, look, we never meant to Bigfoot. We were just trying to help. If there's a better way, let there be a better way. But they didn't say anything. And the reality is that they're in a conflicted position in which they're paid by several of the big media, probably including Dow Jones, but also the New York Times and others, but purport to represent the whole press corps. This is, it's a structural problem. I feel they could have dealt with it better, and you can find this on Substack. We have a few more suggestions for them. They need to. The First Amendment is not just for the big guys, and it's very important cases by the New York Times and Wall Street Journal. But those who really need it the most are independent journalists, for example, and not just independent. The mediascape has changed, and maybe they just should admit we only represent legacy media. Maybe that's it. I don't know. In any event, you can find that on Substack. Well, let's turn around. Today is a full day of action. 10 a.m. in SDNY, the case about the NFL and allegedly racist hiring and interviewing of coaches. 11 a.m., the arraignment of the man who lit the fire on Worth Street in front of ICE. He's now saying that he was in the VA hospital. He's under observation. He's going to be brought in to be arraigned, but it's not going to be as easy to lie sweet as it should be. And I'm a little upset about that, and we'll see whether we address that when the time comes. At 10 a.m., there's a D.C. by phone assets class action settlement in a long-standing case, Salazar versus D.C. The case itself is not that interesting, but I think I may cover it because we're covering D.C. closely. And I will say, during COVID and for a time afterwards, virtually every civil case in DDC was available by phone. And it was good because these cases impact people all over the country. Now they've stopped that. Almost nobody's by phone. Anna Reyes once did one by phone that we covered, and I thought like she's more accessible than the other judges. And I think she is. But in that case, it was maybe because she was on some now disclosed financed talk in the UK. 3 judges there have disclosed their participation in seminars. There's a push for transparency, but there's not enough. And we're particularly focusing on DDC. So we're going to try to cover that case as well. At 12, a press conference in front of 100 Center Street featuring council members Lincoln Ressler, Sandy Nurse, and others about their time viewing the court. Well, we view the court a lot, and I'm going to be curious what they have to say. Got to cover it. Now, what can we say? I'm going to turn to the UN now, because this race, such as it is very low profile. It's to be the Secretary General for the next 5 and probably 10 years. Pontificating out in the field is Maria Fernanda Espinosa, but she won't answer. She tweets her selfies from Panama and the African Union and Ethiopia. But when asked basic questions, who's paying for the travel? Is it her sponsor, Antigua and Barbuda, the country of John Ashe, who in this very courthouse was charged with corruption and then later mysteriously died under his own barbell in Dobbs Ferry, New York? No answer. Rebecca Greenspan, Rafael Grossi. We're going to keep covering it. even as there's no answer at all on restoring the access of inner-city press to cover this race to supposedly have the highest diplomatic post. Need some new candidates. To be continued.